All right, let's talk NBA trade deadline. We've got some breaking news out of the association. Bucks have indicated to other teams they will be keeping Giannis Antetokounmpo through the trade deadline, and that's coming from ESPN. In recent weeks, Milwaukee has fielded serious offers for the two-time MVP, but ultimately decided against moving him at the deadline. So he helped the Bucks, of course, win a title, their first in 50 years, back in 2021. He's a Finals MVP and 10-time All-Star.
All right, let's welcome in our NBA analysts, Ashley Nicole Moss and Brad Botkin. I have a feeling you guys are going to be in and out of our studio a lot, maybe leading up to 3 p.m. Eastern time.
3 more hours.
But who's counting, right? Giannis, the Bucks saying they're not trading him at the deadline here. We've been talking about this for a really long time. Ashley, at this point, are you surprised that this is the case here in Milwaukee with Giannis?
No, I think that they're doing what a lot of us expected to do, and that's try to wait it out for 2 reasons. One, I think that in the offseason you get a lot more variety in terms of suitors, right? We keep talking about this. Everyone in the postseason has a different outlook on next season. Right now, you're not in the play for certain people, or certain teams rather, because their mindsets on different things. You know, you have teams that are actual contenders and they're not as desperate to build a championship team because they think that they are already won. Obviously, after the offseason, you have different ideologies depending on how your season played out. I think that this is also, and I joked yesterday with Brad, it's very a romantic situation, and I keep using that word because it's the only way I can really describe it. Milwaukee, to their benefit, have tried and will continue to try to do anything to keep Giannis and to keep him happy. And I think Giannis has 1 foot in, 1 foot out, meaning I think he wants to win again. I think he wants to be competitive. But I also think he has a very old school mentality that we really don't see that much in the NBA anymore, where he wants to do it with one franchise. And he had that conversation with one of the local publications in Milwaukee and said, you know, I got married here. My kids were born here. My father's buried here. Like, I want to be in Milwaukee. So to his credit, I do think that he's also going to try to figure this thing out. And I think if you're not sure, you don't want to make that move and do something that's going to reset the trajectory of your career and your life if you're not 100% in it. And I think that's kind of where both these parties are at this point.
Yeah, we're living in a post-Luka Doncic world where everybody is terrified of pulling a trigger too early and not properly canvassing the league for the best offer.
Doing what you did with your wife in college. They don't want to make that mistake.
Let's not get into that. Let's not get into
Mrs. Botkin.
He doesn't want to make that.
She already had her time to shine. So, yeah, nobody wants to Ashley's point, there's more suitors in the summer for a variety of reasons. She mentioned, you know, teams are going to go in with expectations. Let's take a team like the Spurs that has a ton of assets. If they wanted to get involved, they could blow everyone but the Rockets and the Thunder out of the water in terms of a package they could offer. But right now, they think they're good. If they go in and lose in the first round, maybe they think differently. That could apply to Detroit. That could apply to Houston. So there's that. There's also, you can only trade 7 years out in terms of draft picks. And so when you get to the offseason, 2033 picks become available to trade. That means anyone who hasn't already traded their 2032 pick now has an extra pick to trade. So you're only going to up your offers. They were really choosing from the sort of a lesser pot right now, the teams that were really desperate, the Warriors, the Wolves. Those maybe aren't the teams with the best offers. And so, yeah, I think this was always heading toward them going to the summer. Now we are not going to see Giannis play the rest of the year. They're going to sit him down because it's not just that they might trade him. I think this is delusional, but I think they still want to try to convince him to stay this summer. He is up to sign an extension this summer, and the only possible way, and this is even a huge reach, but they've proven they've been willing to do that in the past, is if they score, say, a top 4 pick. Now, they owe their pick. It's going to go to Atlanta if it's the worst of them or New Orleans. But them and New Orleans are terrible. So they can end up with a top 4 pick, and then they can go out and put that on the table. That's a real trade asset in a real deep class and bring in said superstar to pair with Giannis. That's what they're going to try to pitch. I would cut ties. But so they're holding off to the summer, not just because there might be more options to trade, but also because there might be an option to keep him.
But I also think, I mean, we have to look at this realistically. I do think that if Giannis wanted to be traded and the deadline was his deadline, he would be traded. I don't think Milwaukee wants a disgruntled Giannis, and I don't think Giannis wants to be in a disgruntled situation. You know, I think that if Giannis was adamant about being traded, we would have seen more activity around this. We wouldn't have had the final nail in the coffin with the report that that the Milwaukee Bucks are not trading Giannis by the deadline. I think we'd be having a different conversation, and we'd be waiting until that 3 o'clock deadline. So I think that both parties are going to try to figure this out. Now, if that ultimately happens is a different conversation. But I do think, for all the reports that we've been hearing, and then we hear Giannis from his own mouth about how he feels about Milwaukee and wanting to make it work, I don't think that they're done with each other yet. And as crazy as that sounds, they're going to try to figure it out. I just don't know if it's a possibility, but that's a different conversation.
This is the problem. He's giving them false hope. If you're gonna break up with me and you keep stringing me along that maybe I'll stay, you start doing desperate stuff thinking there's a chance.
The benefit of giving them false hope.
Exactly. He's gonna make them do desperate stuff.
But I don't think it's false hope. I genuinely think that he's giving them a little bit more time to figure it out because he wants to be there.
False hope, though, seems intentional. I don't know if it's necessarily intentional. Maybe it's convenient hope because of the injury that Giannis has suffered. If you're a desperate team, as you mentioned, trying to go all in for Giannis, you still have to wait 2 to 3 weeks for that calf injury to come back.
Nobody likes breaking up with somebody else. I mean, nobody wants to get broken up with either, but it's tough to break up with somebody else, to sort of break their heart. And so you end up sort of like...
It's not really.
You coddle. No, you coddle it. You don't want to break that harsh news. And so you keep someone around that you kind of are ready to move on from. Giannis doesn't want to say it. We all know he doesn't want to be the bad guy. He doesn't want to deliver that news. And so as long as Milwaukee thinks there's a chance, they've already done desperate stuff. They waived and stretched Damian Lillard. They're paying him $113 million to play for somebody else. Then they brought in Miles Turner. They're paying him $100 million over the next 4. But those are desperate moves because they think it'll keep Giannis. It's false hope.
But it's not like Giannis is the person who has to do the dirty work. He has a whole team of people who will deliver that message for him. Call me.
But it's still his name on it. It's his name on it.
Call me an optimist, which is rare for me. My mom would tell you that. I really think if he didn't want this to work, or if he didn't believe that there was a possibility of it working, he would be on the way to a different team right now. I really think that part of him wants to be in Milwaukee and wants to make the situation work, and he's giving this team, maybe it's one final shot and we're having a drastically different conversation after the finals and in the offseason, but I think he has enough respect for what he's built, what the city means to him, what the fans mean to him, and what this organization has meant to him and what he has meant to the organization to say, we're going to try to figure this out. And I think the proof is in that. He's not going anywhere, at least right now.
And so I know you guys mentioned like the traders, that gets, the suitors gets bigger, right? If you're going in June, there's more options and things. Some of the main suitors, New York, Minnesota, Miami, those were the ones we were hearing about being thrown out at the trade deadline. What are some other teams, Ash and Brian, I know you had mentioned maybe the Spurs and things like that you think we could expand into this pool of
I know which one that won't be, the Warriors.
I know, but
you got Porzingis, though. Congrats on that.
I know. They've been sick for 2 years. But, the thing we need to watch out for, like Anthony Davis going to the Wizards or these teams come out of nowhere. There's reported teams, and all those teams are going to be on the radar. But any team can pop up and trade for a Giannis. The teams that I would really be on the lookout for are you have to have either a package that is somewhat plausible in terms of something that would whet the appetite of the Bucks. So you've got to have picks, you've got to have young players, or you've got to have assets that you can trade to turn into picks to then flip, which was what a team like Minnesota would do. So I look at a team like Detroit has all of its own picks through 2033. Who knows how much those will be worth? They're a good team. They're probably late 20s picks. The Spurs have a ton of picks. The Rockets have a ton of picks. Would those teams fast forward their timeline to go get a Giannis and secure a contention berth? Those are the teams that I think everybody will be watching. But I've been around the NBA long enough to know now that we all come up here and we parrot what the latest report is. Oh, this team now is the one to watch. The teams to watch are the ones that nobody's watching. That's the team to watch. When Damian Lillard was going to go from Portland, it was all the usual suspects. Miami. He wants to go here. He ends up in Milwaukee.
Yeah, but I also think that was Portland trying to spite him because
I don't know. Whatever it is,
you remember
a lot of these guys end up somewhere that you never even thought of.
I think that was like a different circumstance, just because his agent allegedly, didn't help the situation by saying it only can be Miami. It only can be Miami. And Portland, it kind of came across like Portland was like, you're not about to tell me what to do. I'm gonna send you where it's beneficial for me, and he gets shipped to Milwaukee. That was kind of foul.
Even look at, like, say, Jimmy Butler. He put out a bunch of teams where he wanted to go, where he'd be willing to sign an extension.
Golden State wasn't on that list?
Explicitly, Golden State was one that was not. Explicitly was like, I'm not re-signing there. Then he goes to Golden State. So a lot of this is smokescreen. You've got Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to get a phone call from every team, and it's just going to be who can come up with the package.
I know our man Joey upstairs is very happy right now.
He's got his jersey on.
He came on today with his Giannis jersey.
That's sad.
He's going to be sitting there waiting for that 3 o'clock deadline.
It's so sad.
Yeah, what I'm hearing, Brad, is that Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to be a member of the Orlando Magic.
Or Sacramento Kings.
Oh, no, listen, Jacqueline, you said that's a real team. You bring that up. That's a real team to watch. And here's why.
Oh, don't do that
No,
to
I'm
her,
serious.
Brad.
No,
false hope. Let's go.
Hold on.
You know better than Giannis.
I'm not going to get into the weeds of what a poison pill contract is, but until Paolo Banchero's rookie extension kicks in, which is in the summer, it's very difficult to trade him for something that's called a poison pill. That goes away in the summer. Now, imagine a team like Milwaukee getting to restart with a legit, bona fide young star in Paolo Banchero.
I can't believe we're doing
but
this
we
right
know,
now.
hold on, and say like an Anthony Black or Jalen Suggs. That's a good package to restart with. And we know in Orlando that the Banchero and Wagner pairing is not going how it was supposed to go. So you bring Antetokounmpo to come in and play with Wagner, and you let Banchero restart with the Bucks. That's no BS. That's a legitimate option in the summer when Banchero's poison pill contract changes. Truth.
We have to stop talking about it, because now that we're talking about it, it's not going to happen.
Truth.
I shouldn't have brought it
There's
up.
very few young.
I can't believe we're even talking
There's
about
very
it.
few
Save that for the
young,
deadline show.
tradable, former #1 overall picks.
Stop it. You're giving her
Save
false
it.
hope. Cut it out.
I'm telling you. Watch it.
You heard it here first. Knock on wood. Okay. So,
glass,
anyways,
by the way.
but Giannis Antetokounmpo, by the way, yeah, I'll find some wood to knock on. Don't worry. He is staying in Milwaukee for now at the trade deadline, which is in just a couple of hours. We're looking at Giannis, his career ranks in Bucks history, and obviously this is why they want to keep him there. He helped bring the first championship to the city. He's in the first year of a 3-year, $175.3 million contract, and then eligible to sign a 4-year, $275 million Supermax extension on October 1st, but as mentioned, has missed several games after dealing with that right calf strain in